What is up, guys and girls? Hurricane Liz here, and in this video we talk about the 5 hottest KDP niches. Now remember, last week we talked about some, and this week some of them are the very exact same ones, but I have seen a couple of sleeper categories since then pop up and start doing extremely well. So that's what we're gonna talk about, and we will also talk about angles to start creating and selling these books. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited. If you haven't already subscribed, I highly suggest you do so. It means the world to me. Let's go ahead and get started and jump straight in. Okay, so we're here on my desktop, and what we're gonna talk about is first things first. I've used several tools to actually collect these, but I will say this, all tools led to almost the same exact conclusions, other than one that I'm saying is a sleeper pick and one that I threw in there myself, but I really think is going to be fire. And if I have enough time and if I can find a decent enough artist, I will do this, so we'll see what happens. And I think I might be short on time because I have to contract the artist versus some of you might actually already be artists. But what I'm going to start to do is do a month in advance notice, or actually 2 months in advance notice for something that could be hot. So for example, right now we're in June, so I will tell you in next week what will be hot in August or September, so you can prep your books in advance. Obviously Halloween is going to be a big one, but I'm going to start to do it like that. And second quick thing is, yeah, there's been a couple issues with my videos and the quality and the sound. I'm trying to get that all sorted out, but you guys got to understand, I am not a fucking filmmaker. I am an Amazon seller, and I don't have any staff right now because of the current situation outside. I don't want anybody in my house. So until that happens, there might be some issues, but the fact is fact. The information is what it's all about, and if you don't appreciate the information, then I don't know what to tell you, because this is the best information out there. I guarantee this is why people pay me $12,000 per seat at my mastermind. It's because I discover trends. So without further ado, let's talk about what the 5 hot niches are of the week, or we'll say, the coming time, because that's basically what it is. So in order to discover these, where I like to go, and I'll basically show you guys, I've talked about this in another video, but Amazon best sellers, children's books, that's the key right there. And you're going to see this weird thing, the ZGBS, that's where we want to go. People might ask, well, why aren't you going in Kindle? Because I could give 2 shits about what's selling in Kindle. I want to see what's selling on the physical aspect, because that is where the hot sellers are. So it's no surprise to see some of these. We've seen them. We're kind of tired of seeing them. I will point out a couple things, but what I am really after is this new releases category, which I talked about in my last video. But I'm going to show you in this video why it's increasingly valuable. That is because you can discover trends. And as we discovered last time, there's racial tensions right now. And so everybody's trying to teach their kids about how not to be racist and how not to discriminate. So if you see these books doing hot and you're like, well, I can't do anything because I'm doing a coloring book or I'm doing an activity book, it's very easy to do a non-discriminatory coloring book, and I'll show you how in a second, or any of that stuff. Anti-racist baby. You could basically do, and don't do an exact parody of this, and it's not even considered a parody, but you can do something similar to these both, but in a coloring book or in an actual activity book. So think about it, brainstorm it. Now the second actual niche, and that is niche 1, by the way, the second actual niche is prepping kids for school from 2 different perspectives. So this almost classifies as 2 niches, so pay close attention. The first one is prepping kids for school from an actual mentality perspective. So what do I mean by that? I mean exactly what we see right here in our class is a family. It's sort of trying to prep your kids to go to school so that they're not a chicken shit. It's sort of the way I am right now. I'm chicken shit about going out into the world at this present time. So might your kids be when it's time to go to kindergarten, especially with what's going around and all that. Kids are going to be the same way. And it's not even just about what's happening with the virus and the riots and all that good stuff. It's about the fact remains that even 20 years ago when my brother first went to kindergarten, he was crying like a little, I won't even say it, but he was crying like a little girl. And so my mom had to get him ready. But had she had a book like this to aid her in getting him ready, he might not have cried like a little girl, right? He might have just sobbed a little bit. My mom had to beg me to come home from school. That's kind of how I was excited to get out of the house. It's no surprise. And sometimes they can't shut my mouth. And what a surprise. That's still the case. So again, it's preparing our kids from a mental perspective to get ready to go to school. And second thing is preparing our kids from a actual skill perspective to go to school. And I'll show you what I mean here in a second. But the third category, before we actually jump into that preparing kids, is it's all about dads. And I talked about this in last week's video. Anything that you can create for your dad, be it a journal, be it a fill-in book, be it a coloring book, anything like that is selling like fire right now. And guess what? Father's Day is around the corner, so it might be a little too late. And that's exactly what I'm talking about when I say that I might warn you 2 months in advance. But I'm going to share with you a bonus one that will be worth your while here in a minute. So that is the third one. Let's see if we can find sight word storybooks, phonics storybooks. These are actually the books that I'm talking about to prepare your kids from an actual perspective of skill set. So your kids got to know some math. They got to know some reading. You don't want to have the dumbest kid in the batch, right? So you want to prepare your kids to go to school, and guess what? This is the kind of shit they're going to have to do the rest of their life, or the rest of their actual educational experience, is stupid shit like this that's not going to mean anything to them when they graduate, right? I know plenty of kids that have gone to college and are working at grocery stores, but guess what? We're still going to have to prepare them for the real world. So we might as well do it with some books and teaching them some skills. And that's basically what I'm seeing here. That's the 4 already niches. Just to recap, in case you guys weren't paying attention, there was the anything for Father's Day, preparing our kids from a mental perspective, as well as, and this is a big Nate stays classy. There's a perfect example of what's hot. Preparing our kids from an actual skill set perspective, and books about not discriminating. Again, kids are going to be in classrooms together with kids that don't look like them. There's going to be all sorts of different looking kids. And so you're going to have to teach them how not to discriminate and how not to be racist and stuff like that. And that's the way that they'll learn, is through these books. And the last 5th one that I'm going to throw in there that I actually don't see anything like it right now, but I will tell you, in one of the tools that I saw, I see a lot of trends for this and not a lot of people talking about this. So the 5th and final niche that I'm talking about is that I would do is something regarding dead presidents. Here's one right here. The story of Alexander Hamilton, a biography. I would do something with Benjamin Franklin. Anybody that's on dollar bills, I would do the dead president's coloring book, or make it something about money with presidents, or something like that. I think in the t-shirt niches, there's some shirts that say Benjamin drinking, or I'm not even actually sure what they are. Let me see if I can pull one up. All right, so here we are. This shirt has been selling for quite some time. It's selling extremely well, and 4th of July is right around the corner. And guess what? I've seen other presidential shirts just like this, and I would imagine that a coloring book or an activity book would do just as well, particularly for adults. Now, I wouldn't serve this to kids, just like I wouldn't serve a beer to kids, but this will definitely go off with a bang for adults. So, again, this is my 5th and final bonus one. If you guys like any of those ideas, let me know in the comments below. Other than that, I always personally answer all the questions, so I will see you all in the next video.